Most drivers waste hours upon hours just figuring out the car. But what if there was a way you could understand the limits within only a handful of laps in any car on any track? This past weekend, I was coaching a real-life radical driver, and we used a structured framework to quickly and effectively understand how to not only find the limit, but also drive exactly at it. This allowed us to qualify on pole and podium in both races, in both the wets and the dry. In today's video, we're going to go over the exact structure that I used to coach this driver, and I'll show you how you can implement this in both the simulator and real life. Now, the first step when we get to a new car and track combo is to understand the exact deceleration of that car, i.e. straight line braking on that specific surface with those grip levels, the condition of the current tires, and more. The reason why I listed all of these things is because even if you've driven that car already, it's important to realize that there are many variables at play that might affect just how much grip there is. Another reason we start with straight line braking is because it is the safest place to test the limit, as you are far less likely to spin, along with the fact that it is crucial to have a good understanding of how much the car decelerates for future testing. So now the question lies, how do we actually test the straight line braking limit, either in real life or the sim? Now the process is very similar. First, make sure you are not trail braking at all during this step. We want to isolate our straight line braking as much as possible while avoiding any over rotation you might get from trail braking. And the reason for that is because we don't yet know the limit of the rear tires as we begin to turn in, because we haven't tested it yet. So basically what I'm trying to say is, as soon as you start turning, come off of the brakes completely. Now, yes, of course the car is going to understeer, but that is totally all right for now. In fact, that is the safest situation at the beginning. All right, now let's start testing our straight line braking capabilities. Start by braking considerably early for every corner on track to stay safe, using a relatively low amount of brake pressure, something you know that won't reasonably exceed the limit of the tires. The first attempt will purposely be under the limit, but what we want to do is slightly increase this brake pressure, say 5% or 5 bar every lap in every corner, until we feel any abnormal sensation in the car. Now in the sim, we can be a little bit less careful with this. We can lock up the tires in a non-ABS car, or in an ABS car, you'll flash the ABS lights aggressively. Now, on the other hand, in real life, we have to be a little bit more careful with how we approach this process. Well, yes, that classic saying of the only way to know where the limit is to go over it, that is still true. We are going to be looking for more subtle signs of this happening. For example, maybe the wheel gets lighter, maybe you feel or hear a little bit of chatter, any sounds, etc., etc. Basically, anything to tell you that you are just 1% over the limit, anything we'll call abnormal, is what we're going to be looking for at this stage. The reason we don't want to be too aggressive in real life is because there are real costs. We don't want to flat spot tires, we don't want to damage the car, go off track, hurt ourselves, things of that nature. Once we've felt that slight sensation of being over the limit, we can easily dial things back to the point at just before we had crossed the limit. From there, we can consistently drive at the limit of the tires, which is also the peak braking capability of the car in a straight line. In the sim, we can connect that feeling to cues like the tire sound, which I've talked about on this channel before, whereas in real life, we can replace the tire sound with things like generating a consistent G-force sensation each lap under braking. Once we're consistently driving at the limit under deceleration and we know where that limit is, the next step is to find the limit of rotation, also known as how aggressively we can turn in and carry speed throughout the mid-corner phase. Now, remember earlier how I said we don't want to trail brake at all during step 1? Well, now we're at the point where we need to start implementing a little bit of trail braking right after you finish braking in a straight line. Now, to do this, once you finish your straight line braking, I want you guys to immediately drop down to 5% trail brake or 5 bar, whatever we want to call it, as you begin turning into the corner. Similar to step 1, we want this to be something we can easily assume is still under the limit. In this case, similar to step 1, the next time I want you to increase your trail braking pressure to 10% immediately as you turn in. So again, we're continuing to brake at the limit in a straight line, but as soon as we turn the wheel, we're dropping down to 10%. Now keep repeating this process, increasing your trail braking very gradually until one time when you turn in, you feel an abnormal sensation. Most likely, as long as you've taken gradual steps, the first sign of going over the limit will be the steering wheel feeling light, or maybe you have to add just a little bit of countersteer. And there we go. Again, as long as you're taking gradual steps, that is how you will know you are 1% over the limit. And all you have to do is think, okay, how much brake pressure do I have to release in order to get the car back to a balanced state? Now that becomes your new benchmark. Now that we know our straight line braking limit and our rotation limit on turn-in, we simply have to merge those two phases together. Now, after all that, you might have noticed how I still haven't talked about references. That's because there is literally no point in setting super precise references before this process that we just spoke about. The reason for this is because if you do start off braking under the limit and then get more efficient to under braking as the weekend or sessions or hours progress, you're just gonna have to find another reference for that corner or more references for every corner on track, which is obviously a waste of time. And the whole point of this drill is to be more efficient, especially in real life where we have limited track time. We want to be as efficient as possible from the get-go. And that is what this system provides. I hope this video helped you develop a framework for your next track day or sim session. If it did, please consider subscribing to the channel for more free coaching advice, and we'll see you guys in the next video.